A Mortal's Journey to Immortality Episode 220. In the previous episode, after the fierce clash at the Masked Moon Sect, Han Li reunited with Nangong Wan and helped her lift the heart-containing restriction. Choosing peace over vengeance, they left her senior martial sister unharmed and fled together. But their reunion was brief. On a quiet mountain, Han Li decided to return to Soaring Heavens City to check on Peiling and senior brother Lu, while Nangong Wan returned to the Drifting Cloud Sect. Before parting, she gave him a protective treasure and a jade pendant for aid. As Han Li journeyed through the war-torn lands, he learned of the Moulan's devastating victories and the chaos spreading across the 9 nations. Reaching Soaring Heavens City, he found it tense and preparing for battle. When he entered his old residence, a familiar voice greeted him. Peiling smiled softly and said, "My lord, you've returned." And the episode 220 continues. Han Li sighed and helplessly said, "Why is it that you and senior martial brother Lu haven't left as we discussed?" "I might have not returned." He glanced at Peiling and smiled slightly. It seemed his tone carried both affection and concern. Then, noticing the faint surge of her spiritual energy, he said with some surprise, "But I didn't think that you'd actually break through your bottleneck so quickly. Congratulations on entering the mid-foundation establishment stage." Peiling's eyes brightened with excitement as she replied, "I broke through by chance half a month ago, thanks to the medicine pills my lord has given me. It wouldn't have been the case otherwise." Her joy and gratitude made her appear even more radiant, and for a brief moment, Han Li's composure wavered before he regained his calm with a quiet gesture. Then he asked casually, "Does your prolonged stay with senior martial brother Lu in Soaring Heavens City have to do with the spell warriors?" Peiling bit her lip slightly, her tone cautious. "My lord already guessed it. Senior Lu and I had planned to return once the trade fair ended. But before it concluded, news of the spell warrior invasion began spreading everywhere. As a nascent soul cultivator of the Heavenly Tao Alliance, he was required to remain and help negotiate plans with other powers. I stayed behind as well." Han Li nodded with understanding. "In that case, I can't blame you. But where is senior martial brother Lu?" He suddenly paused, his expression turning strange. Before Peiling could ask, a young man's voice called from outside, "Fellow Taoist Mu, are you there? I am Bai Shujun. I wish to discuss something with you." Han Li's spiritual sense swept outside and detected a core formation cultivator with a scholarly appearance standing beyond the building's restrictions. He asked with mild amusement, "Who is this? It seems you've made friends." Peiling's face paled instantly. She hurriedly explained, "Lord, please don't misunderstand. This person is a disciple of a Heavenpeak sect elder. We met unintentionally a few days ago, but he has been bothering me ever since. I told him I am your concubine, but he refuses to believe it. I'll drive him away immediately." Han Li raised an eyebrow. "So that's how it is. Does senior martial brother Lu know of this?" Peiling sighed with relief that Han Li wasn't angry. "I've already spoken to senior Lu about it, but he seemed to know this elder from the Heavenpeak sect and even appeared a bit wary of him. For now, he's left the matter for you to decide." After a moment of silence, Han Li coldly smiled. "Oh, the Heavenpeak sect, one of the 4 great sects of the righteous Tao Alliance. No wonder he's cautious. Still, this core formation brat is bold to act so recklessly. Come with me, let's see what this junior intends to do." Peiling obediently followed behind him as they descended to the ground floor. When Bai Shujun saw them emerge, he froze. He had expected to see Peiling alone, but the sight of Han Li, whose cultivation he instantly recognized as vastly superior, caused his face to stiffen. Han Li's expression was cold as he asked, "You're a disciple of the Heavenpeak sect?" To his credit, Bai Shujun quickly composed himself despite the overwhelming aura before him. With forced politeness, he replied, "That's right. This junior is a disciple of Heavenpeak sect elder Lu. Could it be that you are senior Han?" Han Li's gaze sharpened. "Speak. Why have you been pestering my concubine? You wouldn't be so foolish as to do this without a reason." Bai Shujun smiled smoothly. "Senior is perceptive. In truth, my master wishes to meet you." since there has been no word of your whereabouts, I acted on his behalf. But, his tone turned lighter, I am genuinely fond of fellow Taoist Mu. If Senior would be willing to accommodate me, I would be deeply grateful. Han Li's expression darkened. Grateful? What use do I have for your gratitude? I don't make a habit of handing over my concubines to others. I have no ties to your Heaven Peak sect, so why exactly have you come to find me? With that, Han Li's eyes gleamed coldly, and he suddenly released an immense spiritual pressure. The weight of it crashed down like a mountain. Bai Shujun stumbled backward before falling to one knee, his body trembling under the crushing force. Just as his legs buckled completely, a white silhouette flickered into view beside him. The newcomer was an elderly man with gray hair and kind features. He lightly patted Bai Shujun's shoulder, and the oppressive pressure vanished instantly. The old man smiled calmly. Fellow Taoist Han, please don't be angry. My disciple acted under my command. How else could I have met you? Recognizing his cultivation, Han Li withdrew his aura and spoke evenly. Who might you be? And what business do you have with me? I've never dealt with your sect before. With an amiable chuckle, the old man said, this old man's name is Lu Wuying, an elder of the Heaven Peak sect. As for why I wish to meet you, this isn't the proper place to speak. Tonight, meet me at the location recorded in this jade slip. You'll understand everything then. He waved his sleeve, sending a green jade slip floating toward Han Li. Han Li caught it in a wisp of azure light, scanned it with his spiritual sense, and discovered it contained only a location and time. When he looked up again, the old man and his disciple were already leaving. Han Li frowned slightly. Their actions were odd, and it seemed they believed he had been hiding in Soaring Heavens City all along. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully, but for now, chose to set the matter aside and returned inside with Mu Peiling. Once they were seated, Han Li asked calmly, where is Senior Martial Brother Lu now? Mu Peiling answered, I heard that the war situation has worsened. Senior Lu went to discuss countermeasures with the other powers. Han Li's tone grew curious. Where are they meeting? It's at Soaring Heavens City's official hall. Only nascent soul cultivators affiliated with major powers are allowed to attend. Does my lord wish to go? Han Li nodded. The official hall? He remembered the towering palace at the city's center, veiled by powerful restrictions. All right, I'll take a look. Stay here and don't go out without reason. Without another word, he left for the meeting. The official hall stood like a fortress at the heart of the city, its gates sealed except for the most critical matters of the Nine Nations Union. But with the Moulan spell warriors renewing their invasion after a century-long ceasefire, it had once again been opened to host an emergency council. When Han Li arrived, the guards instantly recognized his cultivation. After confirming his identity, they respectfully led him inside. Within the Grand Hall, only a little over a dozen nascent soul cultivators were gathered, far fewer than Han Li had expected. But it was clear that not all powerhouses needed to attend, most had sent representatives. Han Li's gaze swept the room and soon fell upon his senior martial brother Lu. Seated near the left side, the elder smiled warmly when he noticed Han Li's arrival. Beside him sat the child fire dragon. Among the others, most were strangers to Han Li, except one. When his eyes rested on an elderly man in a yellow robe, recognition struck him like a silent thunderclap. Han Li's heart stirred. This old man was martial ancestor Ling Hu of Yellow Maple Valley. And that wraps up this episode. In this part, we saw Han Li return to Soaring Heavens City and reunite with Mu Peiling, only to find that things had become far more complicated than he expected. What began as a simple visit turned into an encounter that revealed both hidden tensions and new alliances. We learned that Mu Peiling had unexpectedly broken through to the mid-foundation establishment stage, thanks to the medicine Han Li had given her. Meanwhile, the threat of the Moulan spell warriors loomed large, forcing the major powers of the cultivation world to gather and discuss their next move. But perhaps the most intriguing part of this episode was Han Li's encounter with the Heaven Peak sect. The appearance of Bai Shujun and his master, Elder Lu Wuying, hinted at a deeper scheme or hidden intention behind their actions. Their polite yet secretive approach suggested that they wanted something important from Han Li, something that could affect the balance between the great sects. Finally, Han Li's arrival at the official hall marked a turning point. There, surrounded by the most powerful nascent soul cultivators of the Nine Nations Union, he once again crossed paths with a familiar face, the martial ancestor Ling Hu of Yellow Maple Valley. This unexpected reunion not only connected Han Li's past with the present but also hinted that greater events were about to unfold. Overall, this episode highlighted the growing tension among the cultivation powers and set the stage for a much larger conflict. It showed us Han Li's calm confidence in dealing with complex situations and the respect, or fear, that even major sects held toward him. If you enjoyed this episode or found it interesting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to receive notifications about the latest episodes in Han Li's journey. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.